back to a very special episode of the NuttyCast. I am joined today by the one and only Danielle Melanie Brown, who, of course, runs kind of our creativity department at Nutty Novelties. Anything you've seen on social media or in the form of like an email blast or in the form of me being dressed up in a squirrel suit, Danielle had a big part to play. And
sorry.
we love Danielle. I love Danielle. She's amazing. She's been really a part of she's helped make Nutty Novelty such a fun place to work the last few years. And I know I'm not the only person who would say that. I know for me, my mind just kind of goes to the production and the stuff that needs to get done. And then for me, it's a fun break to get to make a goofy video or whatever Danielle will have me doing. And it's fun to collaborate it and talk about it and work on them. But anyway, that is one of many, many things that Danielle does. She is maybe the busiest person I've ever met or heard of. So she's a part of a musical group with her sister. She owns a crocheting Etsy business called Mother of Gritties. And she has another part-time job at Redeem TV. Danielle does many, many things. And my first question for Danielle is, why, Danielle? What is wrong with you? Why do you have your grimy hands in so many cookie jars?
Grimy hands. I do come from an entrepreneur family, and Scatone's Market was my great-great-grandfather. And that was in Norristown. And they had the Italian meats and cheeses and Italian Zeps. And
Shout out Norristown, PA.
Yeah. They even had the delivery trucks that would have the groceries that would go around that had Scatone's Market on them. And then from that, they needed cookies. So my grandparents started Little Peppy's Pizzelles in their kitchen. And then they ended up having the bakery that was in Norristown. That was where the SEPTA building is now. And that was a lot of my childhood growing up, is visiting that bakery and, smelling the anise waffle cookies that I got to try when I was a child. And everybody would be so nice and give me samples, which was awesome. And then my mom worked there. All of my family really worked there. And she would help my grandfather kind of keep the books straight and do a lot of the financial stuff when she was very young. So then she became an accountant, and she started her own firm, Scatone Brown & Brown.
Yep.
So I naturally kind of had to follow in their footsteps and do my own thing.
Do you feel like your grandparents and your mom are kind of full throttle, pedal to the metal, maybe workaholics, you might say?
You might say that.
You might say that.
You might say that.
We would never. Some might. So, yeah, kind of a natural.
The go-getters.
Yeah. So it's in you.
Yes.
It's in you to be this busy.
Yes.
And God bless us all for those of us that benefit from it. It's amazing. So, yeah, you started at a really young age, even as a child actor. So I think you started around age 6. So tell us, what was that like growing up? So
it was a very interesting childhood, but it's something that I don't regret in any way. I mean, you see all these child actors kind of coming out now and they have these nightmare stories, but mine was definitely not like that. I had the best childhood, and it was something that I was the one driving it. And my mom was so kind to be there supporting me through all of that, where she was able to pick up her business and work out of hotel rooms and things like that.
And drive you and Jennifer to New York City so you could do,
Yes, and we were homeschooled on top of that, and she was helping us with our homework and also learning scripts on top of that. So we were 3 and 6 when we started, and I was kind of the one that was always singing in grocery stores and talking to random people and putting on random shows for family and friends.
Wow.
She knew that from an early age I did have this talent that she wanted to help me explore. So my first commercial was Francesco Rinaldi sauce. And I had a lisp at the time, so it was like, "It's got the taste." So it was a lot of...
Amazing. And then you were on freaking Broadway.
Yeah.
And as a young kid, we're making legit salary, and I believe you told me after the shows would be signing autographs for people. And please tell us about the Broadway experience.
So yeah, and I was in Les Miserables for 2 years and 9 months, and I played young Cosette and young Eponine, and it was just the time of my life. I met so many amazing people, and I just was so fortunate. I actually went to an open call for Les Miserables, and there was like hundreds of girls there, and I'm thinking, there's no way that this is ever going to happen. And I went in with a broom, so that was ridiculous in itself.
Why?
Well, because
to be like the little maidservant type of girl. Wow,
so I was like really living the part.
Good move.
I got their
attention. Was
attention.
that your idea as a young kid, or was that your mom?
I can't remember whose idea it was. I think I'll have to ask her.
Is it possible it could have been even my idea?
It probably was your idea, definitely. I was like just thinking about like someday I'm gonna have to mop the floors of Nutty Novelties, and so
I'll just bring a broom along.
Bring a broom in just
safe.
in case. I'm just like foreseeing something. But yeah, so I brought a broom in, and I remember at the end of the song, they asked for me to bring my mom in, and I'm like, oh man, I'm in trouble. I did something wrong.
They're gonna yell at you in front of your mom.
They're gonna yell at me. And they bring her in, and they basically tell her that at some point I'm going to be one of the young Cosettes.
Oh, wow.
And she says she just remembers that her mind just went blank. And she just saw their mouths moving, and she didn't really know what was going on after that.
She's in shock.
Yeah, so I think from then, it was just this whirlwind of really cool things that I got to do. And of course it was really hard. And, we gave up kind of like what a normal childhood would be, where I would say no to birthday parties for, friends that we had around here. And
she's like, I got to go work and make real money, guys.
Yeah.
I'm 7 now, so I don't know what you guys are doing with your lives, but I'm going to be on Broadway.
But we still lived in Pennsylvania at the time when we would commute, so I still was like playing in the dirt, in the morning, and then I would have to, get ready.
Oh, man.
And go to the theater.
Yeah.
Or you would hear the fax machine go off, and a script would come through.
Oh, man.
And we would run up to the fax machine and be like, oh, how many pages is this? How many lines do I have? And
wow.
You knew how much time you're going to have to sacrifice. How much time do I have to play, and how much time do I have to learn a script?
Wow.
So it was really cool. And we just had the best time.
So I met you in, I think, 2021. We were looking to hire somebody for production to help make the peanut butter and stuff like that. And I'm sure it was me who put it together. Or it could have been my sister-in-law, Hannah. Shout out to my sister-in-law, Hannah, who did the social media job and everything before Danielle. But I remember putting out a post, and you had replied to it, and we brought you in and sat you down for like our little interview / tour thing, and probably hired you like that moment. We're like, can you start like now? But, and then you did the production thing in terms of like nut butter production for probably like at least a year. It felt like a long time.
I was in Tree Nuts for a long time.
Yeah, we kept you in Tree Nuts where you belonged.
Sampler.
Yeah, no, just kidding. And
in the back room, shun her.
I remember Tina and I like quickly realized that you were pretty good at this, and that we could throw like other stuff at you, and that was like a blast. But what we didn't know was any of this stuff about like your past and the child acting and all of that. And yeah, you kept it quiet. You kept it quiet for a long time, and I'd love to know like why that was. Was this like an embarrassment thing, or like did you feel like you were better than all of us, which obviously you are in a lot of ways, or like goodness. Or what was behind that? Why did you keep that quiet?
I think it was mainly because I wanted to start over in a sense where I kind of wanted to test myself to see if I had the skills to succeed in a different company and a different business altogether, because this was something that I didn't really have any experience doing. And I actually always wanted to work at the bakery that my grandparents started, but I was way too young at the time, so I could not handle any of the machinery and stuff like that. So production stuff always interested me, and that's kind of what drew me to the job. And also, it was during the whole pandemic that all of the shows that my sister and I had just got canceled, and there was nothing going on. So I was going crazy, and I needed something. And when I saw that, I'm thinking, you know what, this is something I can do. And it also was kind of at one of the lowest parts of my life, honestly, because I thought, if I don't have performing, what good am I? What do I have to offer? So I think that it was almost out of a necessity to keep my mind calm and keep me mentally busy. And I almost didn't want to touch on any of that. Not that I was ashamed of it or anything. It was one of those things where if it's gonna come out, it'll come out eventually, and people will eventually know, but I'm not gonna be the one talking about it, because I didn't want it to seem like I was arrogant or succeed in a way that was because of that. Because I know that there are some people that treat you differently because of that in different ways, where some people are like, oh, you're so arrogant because you're talking about it, but this was actually my childhood. Yeah. So it's kind of just my history where, you know, some kids went to school and some kids went to summer camp, and my summer camp was, well, I was in Les Mis for 2 years and 9 months, and these were my friends, and this is how I grew up. So for me, telling my history eventually came out. But I think the only person that really knew was Tina at the time, because I had interviewed with her. And then Janice was the one that kind of found out about it.
Shout out to the GOAT.
I think she found out online somehow, and that I was on Blue's Clues or something like that. And that kind of snowballed from there.
Do you feel like, I feel like what I'm hearing from you is it's kind of journey into like a healthier place, particularly as an Enneagram 3. So yes. I think we've talked about the Enneagram a little bit before, but it's a kind of a personality assessment thing that I find pretty interesting. And there's 9 numbers with different characteristics and stuff, but the 3s tend to be like performers and kind of image focused, and definitely want to appear as successful. And I've definitely got some 3 in me as well. Let's be honest. I don't know for sure if I'm a 3, but there's a good chance I am. But I feel like it's just such a picture of like a healthy 3 to be somebody who's like, I have a lot of like accolades behind me in my past and stuff that I'm deliberately not talking about. I'm deliberately kind of putting that behind me and starting new and fresh, and not using any of those things to kind of bolster me forward artificially. And I'm just really impressed by that. I think
thank you for saying that.
I think that's really cool.
It takes a lot of work to be that, though.
Yeah. And you had mentioned that you had started playing with your sister. Mm-hmm. What do you guys call yourselves? Like, you're not a duet. You're a musical act.
It's a musical duo.
A duo, musical duo.
Yeah.
You and your sister, and you guys started, what, 2015-ish? Before that even?
I think it might have been like even 2012, I want to say.
Oh my gosh.
Because I know we did our first single was Radical Love, which you can still find out there. It's it's out there on the internet. It's we have a music video for it and everything.
Yes.
And then we did The First Time You See Me actually was written by Sandy Linzer, who also wrote Working My Way Back to You, Babe, and also wrote for Whitney Houston. So from that, we started writing our own stuff. And that was kind of how it started back in 2012 or around that time.
Did you feel like you guys were like kind of on the cusp of like making it big or making it kind of big, like, and then the pandemic happened? Or like, I'm just curious, where were you and Jennifer like come March of 2020?
So we definitely did a lot of big things where we opened for our heroes, Lifehouse and the Veronicas. And there was a bunch of other bands that were kind of in that realm, like A Great Big World we opened for as well. And we ended up doing a lot of like really cool events and things like that where I felt like, okay, we're right there. We're right there and we're doing it. We're in it. And even with releasing songs and the people that we got to meet who were writing with us, it definitely felt like this was it. This is what I was supposed to do. And especially after something I didn't even go into was that when we had kind of like stopped acting, I had gotten sick where I had a
Hashimoto's?
nodules on my vocal cords.
Not nearly as hilarious as they might make you believe in Pitch Perfect.
Yes.
It's a real thing.
So
I'm sorry to laugh at you every time you say
fine.
that.
But yeah, it was definitely like one of those things where it was a roller coaster of, okay, I think I'm making it. I think I'm doing really well. And then boom, something happens. And then same thing, you think you're making it. And then boom, something happens. So the whole thing with Danielle and Jennifer was we were doing all these shows. We did a lot of music festivals. And then there was a point where we're like, okay, well, we also have to make money as well. And my mom being the accountant, she kind of helped us through that as well and keeping track of our finances. And we ended up doing restaurant gigs and private parties and weddings and cocktail hours and things like that, where we were doing these bigger events and getting paid a good amount of money for. So again, we felt like, we're making it, we're doing it, and we're putting our money back into our equipment, and we're putting our money back into recordings. And that's something, again, with a business, whether you're marketing peanut butter or you're marketing, stuff that you're crocheting or whatever it is, this was us marketing our music and ourselves, basically, where we had to keep the business healthy and put the money that we were making back into ourselves. And so we were doing really well, and we were booked basically every weekend. And the pandemic happened, which kind of hit everybody in the face, and especially with performing, because nobody wanted to come out. Nobody wanted to have those crowds and be in restaurants. Right. So the first thing to go was the music, because what drew crowds to restaurants.
Right, of course, yeah. That's a pretty tough spot to be in, where you're like, I'm actually dependent on there being crowds of people. I need millions of people coming to my restaurant and spending $20 each or $100 each or whatever. Like, and the music is part of that. And yeah, I mean, the pandemic was hard on me and hard on Nutty for sure. But like, I just really feel for people like you and even Jennifer, dare I say, and other people like in similar boats, because I just feel like it's just so unfair. It's so unfair. And not that anybody did it on purpose or any of that, but like just the way it played out was just incredibly unfortunate. But at the same time, we wouldn't have found you if it wasn't for that.
This is true.
And super grateful for that. So kind of shifting back into fast forwarding a little bit, I guess, into like the Nutty. Oh, so I got one more question though. So kind of since you were 6, or since you've been working, you've always been like what you're doing for Nutty now and Redeem and all the musical stuff and the crocheting stuff. Like it's all like creative. It's all creative work. For me, I like being creative, but like I have to kind of get into the right like brain space, I guess, to get there. And I also find it very tiring if I've spent a lot of time like trying to be creative and being funny on Instagram, or like even the podcast interview is like, I love doing it, but there's also something that's just kind of just drains me about it. So yeah, I didn't prep you with this, but like, what's it like being kind of the creative person? Like to me, that feels like being on all the time. What's it like being like on all the time?
That's a great way to describe it, being on all the time. And sometimes, actually, when I have off days, it's one of those things, this is probably also a 3 thing, where it feels like I'm letting people down because I'm not constantly go, where when
kind of set a bar for yourself.
Yes. So when I'm at my best, I have a million ideas going like a mile a minute in my mind where, you know, I'm like, we could do this, we could do that, we could do this. And it definitely does feel like I have to be on 100% of the time and be coming up with ideas and constantly coming up with new ideas that people are going to like.
Yeah.
So even before I opened my mouth, probably like 10,000 things went on in my brain before I even say something. So that's a lot because I feel like I never stop talking sometimes. Where I constantly have things for multiple different businesses that I am a part of where I constantly have to keep writing it down in my phone or, you know,
staying
coming
organized.
to you and telling you about it or, and staying organized is a huge thing as well. So it is exhausting for sure, but it's something that I know I'm good at.
Yeah.
And I've definitely put myself down for not being good at a lot of things, but I will say that that's one of the things that I am proud of. And whether it's, I don't know, ADHD or something.
I think it's that. Yeah, I think we can go ahead and diagnose you now.
Yeah. No. And definitely, I also think that we always used to joke, and it's probably not funny, but that the kids in Les Mis, like, it was a requirement to have ADHD to be a child actor because you always constantly have to be learning scripts or learning or switching between roles too. That's another thing where you have to like shut off one role that you were doing and then maybe in the next hour you have to change completely into somebody else. Yeah. So I think the whole childhood acting really did help me in that way where I'm able to kind of shift gears and do a lot of different businesses and have ideas for a lot of different businesses. My sister actually says to me a lot that, how do you have so many ideas about peanut butter?
I swear, Jennifer.
We love you, Jen.
I'm just kidding. I think the same thing. And I'm regularly at the thing where I'm like, you know what, guys, just freak. Like the one we made last week where it was like, we're out of ideas. Just come buy the peanut butter already. And
that wasn't even like because we were out of ideas. No,
it was because just saw it was a trend. And we were like, oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah. So I think that I do kind of use that as my superpower in a way, whether it's because of ADHD or not. I do think it's because I have that creativeness behind that I've had my whole life, and all of the different things that I've learned throughout my life has led me to
be uniquely equipped.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. I like that.
Yeah,
I like that.
Came up with that. I thought that was pretty good. So, what are some things that you're working on? And I'd love to break this into kind of 2 parts. So what are some things you're working on, like for Nutty, that you're excited about, that are coming up or that are current or whatever? And what are some things that you're working on in your crocheting realm, which we haven't even talked about, or in the music realm, or both? What are some projects or things that you're excited about coming?
So I guess for Nutty, this is a huge thing.
Your episode?
Well, yeah, my episode specifically is what I'm excited about. No, but we actually...
I hope everybody was watching on YouTube so you can see her face.
Yeah. So, but the fact that we're doing the NuttyCast at all is so exciting to me because I am able to bring that creative side of me that I've kind of hid from the nutty world for a while, and I'm just very thankful that...
I should clarify one more time. So Danielle and also Blaine do all the actual work for the NuttyCast. I just come and ask the questions and stuff. So please don't get the wrong idea. Danielle and Blaine do it all.
It's all Caleb, actually.
It is actually all me.
He edits it and everything. Stays up till like 2 a.m., you know. But I think that it's so exciting because we get to tell other people's stories and these businesses that maybe kind of not go unnoticed, but the stories behind them go unnoticed, where you go into these places or you support these businesses and you don't know the origin story of how they started and how they came to be. And I think you had said that before to me, where it's kind of like the how I built this, but it's how I'm building this.
How I'm building this, yeah.
Yeah, because it's people that are doing it right now. Yeah. They're in the moment and they're fighting through these challenges. They're not on some yacht somewhere where they sold their business, My
heart. All the things I love to say.
Yeah. See? So I think I'm really excited about this, and I'm specifically really excited because we're going to the Fancy Food Show.
Oh, yes.
And we're taking all our equipment on the road, and we're going to try to set up there and do some interviews. So yes. Stay tuned for that.
Yes. Lots of our small business owning friends in New York City. Yes. It's going to be crazy. It's probably going to be a little more like rapid fire style, but like this was Danielle's idea too. Like, what if we interviewed people at the Fancy Food Show? I'm like, yes, we've got the people, we've got the stuff. This will help draw some attention to the booth. And so I'm super excited for that too. It sounds like, I hope it's going to be a blast. I think it will be.
Well, and then I guess for personally, my crocheting business that we haven't talked about yet.
Mother of Gritties.
Mother of Gritties. I think at this point, for those of you watching on YouTube, I'm going to switch to my gritty attire.
Oh, yes, please.
And this is when you can describe to our listening audience what it looks like.
Okay, so Danielle is currently disrobing.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, she's just the hat. Sorry. Just the hat. And here comes... I'm going to estimate 30 pounds of yarn and fabric materials. Okay. And now
how's my beard?
It's bright orange. She is ready for the woods, folks. She will not be shot because she's in all fluorescent orange from head to belly.
Yes.
And she looks like the Flyers mascot Gritty.
Yep.
I have one of these too. It's hilarious. It's perfect for Flyers games. It's perfect for any.
You warm.
It keeps you very warm.
So if you're close to the ice, you have a built-in scarf because it has a really nice beard. It's the deluxe version, so I got like the whole situation in the back.
And it's amazing for any Flyers fan in your life. Find them on Etsy.com/Mother of Gritties.
I think it's Designs by Danielle.
Excuse me.
But
Designs
if you
by Danielle.
search Mother of Gritties, it will come up.
Boom. And it's all yours for just $199.99.
$199.
How much are they?
I actually don't know what I saw them for right now. But
now they're on sale for who knows what.
Yeah, if you watch this episode of the NuttyCast, you can get a discount.
Whoa!
There we go. We'll add that into it.
This episode of the NuttyCast is brought to you by Designs by Danielle, the mother of Gritties. Find yours on her Etsy store and use code NUTTY10 to get 10% off your next order of one of these.
This episode of the NuttyCast is brought to you by Nutty Novelties. Is your life sad and boring, and are you still eating store-brand peanut butter? Well, switch it up with the better-for-you Nutty Novelties. Use code GRITTY10 for 10% off your next order. The whole thing that happened, or that started this, was because so my boyfriend Blaine, who also works at Nutty Novelties, mixes all of your nut butters. Woo! And he's our designated mixer and does all kinds of other things at Nutty Novelties. So we were joking about making a hat of Gritty, and the first one went to him, and in that, other people saw it and were like, you should sell these. And the first one was very ugly. I mean, the first prototype, it was like very sparse.
I'm trying not to laugh.
Why? Because you can't take me seriously with this?
Well, the first one was ugly.
It was.
Okay. Well, sorry. I mean, we're not going for like beautiful with the current version.
Yeah. I mean,
Gritty looks hilarious.
Gritty is scary.
He's scary. You might say he's ugly. Yeah. And now you can look just like him.
Yeah. Actually, funny side story to that though. So mascots, I kind of have a problem with. So this is actually bringing up a lot of trauma because so the Philly Fanatic, actually, which I know that they're supposed to be kind of like designed after each other. Yeah, like they kind of have the same weird body build and whatnot. So my mom actually took me to meet the Philly Fanatic, and I had a little baseball cap on, and I thought the thing was going to suck up my hat. And I was so scared, and I was crying and hiding under tables.
Oh, my
Because of
goodness.
this. So when Gritty came out,
How
I'm
old
like,
were you,
oh,
like
man.
14?
Yeah, it was just last year, actually. But, so the whole thing with mascots and the fact that I'm even crocheting mascots is crazy in itself because of that whole
man.
experience.
Yeah.
It was horrible. So I don't do the Philly Fanatic
Okay.
for obvious reasons. But yeah, but when Gritty first came out, there was nothing out there. There was no merchandise because I think that they didn't know how he was going to do. And it was, I think, a tweet to the Penguins where they had said something, and he was like, "Sleep with one eye open, bird." And then
And Philadelphia fell in love.
yeah, they like rallied to protect Gritty, even though they also were criticizing him. But that just makes sense. They're like, "He's ours.
Yes,
Leave him alone."
Yep.
And
So Philly.
yeah, and the first year I did really well. Like I was nonstop making Gritty hats, and obviously other things in my life have kind of made me pull back from that because I can't be crocheting like 24/7.
Yes.
But and then I obviously had to raise the prices because it was just it was a lot more work than I thought it would be. And my hands were tired.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm only one person. So doing all of that work was definitely a lot. And I've learned a lot on having to scale back. And also the whole thing about some of the yarn was discontinued.
Oh.
And I had to find that. Even now, I'm still trying to find orange yarn. So, hey, if you're watching or listening and you find some orange yarn, send it my way.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah.
But, yeah.
So let's shift gears here to my favorite question.
So I should de-gritty.
No, that should definitely stay on for this.
Okay.
So I know that you are a person of faith.
Oh, I should definitely de-gritty for this. This is...
It's what the Lord
That's
would want.
not right.
How does your faith inform what you like? In your case, kind of your whole life. How does your faith inform what you do with Nutty and Redeem and Gritty and your music stuff, all the hats that you wear?
So, the hats, literally.
Oh, nice.
So, obviously, faith is so important to me, and it's kind of where it all started, too, because my first solo ever was in church when I was 6 years old.
Yeah.
So, and all of this stuff with tech I've learned at church as well, and it's been something to always kind of lead me on the right path. Even with all of the acting stuff, it's a scary world out there, and to always have kind of like protection where I definitely felt like I was in this little bubble of protection that entire time in my life. And I definitely don't think that I would have gotten through the things that I got through if it wasn't for that.
Yeah.
And there was even people that would always say, "Oh, she's such a happy child. Like, why is she so happy?" And I truly believe that that's why, because I was brought up in church, and I did use my gifts for church. And
I have a follow-up that I didn't prep you with because it just occurred to me. Where have you seen God show up in like an unexpected way over the last few years?
That's rough. Because there's so many ways, and specifically
We can scrap this if it's not good. I have a good editor.
No. No, I think this is good because I think that God has showed up for me in times when I felt like I had to control everything.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
Because of, being the way that I am, and I think I have to be the one to drive everything, and I have to be the one that has it all figured out. And even in my times when I got sick and I couldn't sing the way that I wanted to sing anymore, and I felt worthless, when that all happened, I went back to church and was learning the other side of it, where I was learning sound and I was learning video editing. And if I didn't get sick,
now you're literally on the other side
Yeah.
of the camera or the soundboard or whatever. Yeah.
And if I didn't get sick, none of these things would have happened. And who knows what would have happened if I would have continued in acting. And not saying that would have been bad, but I think that
there's good and there's a lot of bad things in that in that world.
Yeah.
Which I know you were exposed to some of those things too, and maybe I don't want to put words in your mouth, but maybe like the Lord was kind of deliberately leading you away from some of those pitfalls and things that people fall into and are victimized
100%.
by.
Yeah, I feel that a lot, and I definitely think that I was protected in a way that I didn't see at the time, and it really goes to show you that God does have a plan, and the timing is not mine. And what I thought was going to happen in my life definitely was not what happened. And I actually like this version better.
Did it take you a long time to get there?
It definitely did. And I feel like I'm still getting there in every part of my life. There's things that come up where I just think, why, when I've been through everything that I've been through and I've gone through everything that I've gone through, you still question, but at the same time, you're always brought back to realizing that your plan wasn't as good as his plan. So I definitely do think that God has showed up for me a lot. And even more specifically recently, working at Redeem TV, it was a crazy moment because I now am on the other side of things where I'm behind the camera. I'm kind of helping other businesses shine and not myself anymore, which is great. And I love doing that. I love showing people
By the
their
way,
stories.
can I just say, I've been begging Danielle to be in more of the videos and stuff, and I had to beg her to be on the NuttyCast because I'm like, people want to hear from you. I want to hear from you. I want to see you in front of the camera, and like, I had to freaking drag her out there. And I'm glad she's finally doing it.
This is, yeah. Well, thank you. I appreciate you pushing me to do it because this is good.
Pushing, dragging.
Yes, kicking and screaming. But here I am. And
sorry, what were you saying about Redeem? I totally cut you off.
That's okay. So I think the whole thing with acting and even the whole faith component that we were talking about, I think it's interesting because for a long time, I was fighting to get back into that world. I was fighting to get back into, the acting world after I got sick. And I'm like, I got to get back there. I got to get back to what I was. I got to get back to Danielle Brown, and the name that everybody knew. And I was living up to what I had created myself and always falling short. Where I'm like, I'm never going to be what I was. And I was very depressed. I was very lost because I had put so much time into that. And I felt like it was letting everybody down that had been there supporting me this whole time. And so I think just being behind the scenes and finally letting that part of me go was when things were given back to me.
Oh, yeah.
Which is so weird because working at Redeem TV, I ended up actually working on a campaign for vindication. And that's a show that we have that's like a Christian like crime drama show.
Did anybody ever have a small acting role in that show that I may have heard of?
Here, listen, I'm getting to it. So the whole thing that happened was that I was working behind the scenes for that. And I was helping, fundraise for that. And
it's a really cool show, by the way. Vindication.
It's amazing. And I'm not just saying that because I did have a small part in it, but I think that it's a real life, it shows Christians in real life and like dealing with actual issues that we have to deal with and overcome. And it's not pretty all the time. And that's what I love so much about it. But it wasn't until I had let the whole acting world go and I'm like, you know what, that's not my story anymore. I'm helping other people achieve their dreams. And I actually helped with doing a table read for one of the new seasons. And the director kind of was like, she has acting experience. And then I wanted to hide under the table. And long story short, he asked me if I wanted to audition, and I ended up going to Texas and filming a little part in it. And you guys were so kind to do a little premiere at Nutty Novelties, which was the coolest thing.
Complete with red carpet?
Yes. And I was so surprised and blown away. But I think that it's just a beautiful full circle moment, because all of these things that that I thought were important in my life, where, you know, getting the attention and the applause and whatnot, and fighting to get back there after I got sick, didn't matter anymore, because I realized in that moment, like, I had everything that I could possibly want.
Aww.
And I'm going to start crying. Oh, man. But yeah, definitely full circle moment. And God was throughout all of that. And that wouldn't have happened if God didn't lead me on the path. And I wouldn't have met you guys, and I wouldn't have seen that I have all of these incredible friends that just really care about me. And it shows that I don't need to have, you know, a big part, or I don't need to be the star of something. I'm the star of my own life, you know, and this is the life that I get to live. And I'm just so thankful for the people that are a part of my life. And I just can't wait to explore more and see what the future holds for Nutty and all of the crazy things that I get to do.
Me too. I just got to add my favorite. So I had to steal you away for like at least an hour to kind of get the space ready for this big premiere at Nutty. Because we had to get the red carpet ready, and we had to set some chairs out, and I think Blaine set up like a projector screen and stuff. Yeah. It was great. Like, we made it work, but I had to steal you away. And what we did was we filmed our first ever peanut butter patty at Landis Market. At Landis. And that was like my still, that might be my favorite thing we've ever done. And the thing I'm excited for is more peanut butter patty. Yes. I cannot wait. It's been so hilarious. But so you were still all in the peanut butter patty get up.
Yes.
And like, I walk into Nutty.
So for those of you that don't know peanut butter patty, you have to explain what peanut butter patty is.
She's our newest social media influencer, played by our very own Danielle Brown, if you couldn't tell. And she is so hilarious, and she does so many stereotypical, hilarious, obnoxious influencer things, and you got to kind of watch closely. She always has sunglasses
and a blonde wig.
And she's always tapping on the jars, and she has like a lisp, and she's so annoying. But you were like in that get up as I walk into Nutty.
I'm like, what is my mom doing here? and then there's the red carpet, so I felt like an idiot. Like, I'm still in peanut butter patty attire.
It couldn't have worked out better.
So
it was amazing.
But yeah, it was definitely a really cool moment, even as hilarious as it was that I was in PB patty attire. It definitely, now that I look back on it, you're right, it was perfect.
It couldn't have been better. I couldn't have planned it any better than that.
Like, this is how I show up to my premiere. Oh, man.
Well, this has been a blast. Danielle, thanks for everything you do at Nutty Novelties. I'm so glad your life didn't work out anything like you thought it would, so that you could be with us and make Nutty such a cooler and more fun place to work. And the image that we're putting out there, I'm just like really proud of, and so much of it is because of what you bring. Any last words before we wrap up? Last thoughts?
Man, I don't know. I mean, hey, continue to keep listening to the NuttyCast and all of the new things that we have coming up.
And as always, stay nutty.